How's it going, folks? CR here, your friendly neighborhood firearms enthusiast, bringing you another gun control Q&A. And we got some questions to answer today, so let's get into it. Okay, so the short answer to this question is no. Now, if it was an FFL to FFL transfer, that would be a different story, but the fact that you're asking this question pretty much lets me know you're not an FFL. So the proper procedure to buying a firearm online is you need to have an FFL in your state that you can have the firearm sent to when you purchase it online. From there, the firearm will go to that FFL. You will be required to fill out the 4473 form, do the background check, and any other additional hoops your state wants you to jump through. You're going to have to jump through them. That's a long story short. Now, depending on which state you're in, if you know somebody online who's also a resident of your state that's looking to sell a firearm, well, you two could make an arrangement to meet up somewhere and buy the firearm that way. Again, be sure that you follow all your state and federal laws because they still apply. It's just like a person-to-person transfer. So, hopefully that should answer your question. Okay, so if your car gets stolen and the person who stole your car accidentally runs over a child with it, should you be held criminally liable? Just asking. I mean, if you shouldn't be held criminally liable for that, then why should a firearm owner who got their firearms stolen be held criminally liable when a criminal steals their firearms and uses them to, say, kill a kid? You see, the thing is that that's the key word, stolen. So yeah, I mean, it's easy to see why somebody would be against a law like this. Well, gun control activists actually did try to get cheap, inexpensive handguns banned. And in fact, that was the main focus in the 60s, 70s, and even the early 80s. In fact, it wasn't just cheap handguns, it was all handguns is what their goal was. And they were actually successful at getting outright handgun bans in both D.C. and Chicago until those bans were overturned respectively by Heller and then McDonald. So yes, I mean, that was a focus with them. And cheap handguns were especially their target. The term Saturday Night Special was a derogatory term for a handgun that was cheap and inexpensive. And of course, obviously, the term is very vague. There is no technical definition on what a Saturday Night Special would be. Kind of like, assault weapon. Now, in the 80s, they did switch up their direction on this one, mainly because I think they realized that they were going to have a much harder time getting handguns banned, so they switched it up to go after first machine guns, which they got them banned in 86. So pretty much all the machine guns you see now on the market, the reason why they cost tens of thousands of dollars is because you can't get a machine gun legally manufactured after 1986 as a private individual. And, of course, after they got the machine gun ban, they then went on to target rifles that look like machine guns. Is pretty much the layman's term for it. All right, so with the way this question's worded, I presume this person doesn't understand that fully automatic assault rifles are, for all intensive purposes, already illegal. Now, if you live in a state that allows for machine guns and you happen to know somebody who has a machine gun initially registered prior to May 19th, 1986, and they're willing to part for it for a price which is going to be in the tens of thousands of dollars, and then you both are willing to go through the NFA Title II process to transfer it lawfully, well, yeah, I guess that's a way you can own a machine gun manufactured over 30 years ago for tens of thousands of dollars. What I presume this person's talking about is the AR-15. But I'm going to answer both presumptions. So, why do I personally oppose the ban on fully automatic assault rifles? Well, it's real simple. After the 1980s, the gun controllers, upset that they couldn't get their handgun ban through, decided they were going to go through another target. Something that they, well, were right about. That. I mean, it was an easier target for them, and that was machine guns. And the way they got it banned was by tacking an amendment to ban select fire onto a bill designed to put some protections on firearm owners and FFLs from certain abuses of prior gun control laws. And at the time, and even today, still, there was only one person that had been killed by a lawfully held machine gun since 1934. So that ban did jack all to save anybody's life. But they put that ban in place simply just to get another gun law in. Just to pretty much be petty about this. Well, less than 2 years after the ban, they came up with the term, quote, assault weapon. And in 1989, California was the first state to enact a, quote, assault weapons ban. Then in 1994, the federal government enacted its 94, quote, assault weapons ban, which expired in 2004. Now, after the, quote, assault weapons ban was enacted, obviously gun controllers weren't happy with that. They said that gun manufacturers were finding a way to skirt the ban by, quote, modifying the rifles somewhat cosmetically. Make of that what you will. But they said they needed another assault weapons ban. They needed to improve that one on the book, that they just didn't go far enough. So, with this being said, some of the arguments you'll hear is, well, the AR-15, even though it's not fully automatic, it's still the same thing as an M16 or an M4. Not true, but you know what? If this is your mentality, fine. Let's get rid of the select fire ban so people can start buying M16s and M4s and too. And that's my sentiment on both of those perspectives. You see, the fact of the matter is that gun controllers, there is no way you can satisfy them. They're going to try to get whatever restriction they can when they can get it. It doesn't matter if that restriction's going to actually save lives. They just don't like the freedom. And what's even more despicable about this is that they're willing to use dead children as human shields for this. So, no, with this being said, I think we need to just go back to the shall not be infringed portion of the Second Amendment. And that's actually the real intent behind the Second Amendment, is so that the average citizen can possess the same type of hardware your average infantryman can possess. That was the intent behind the Second Amendment. Now, some pro-firearm freedom advocates, or gun rights advocates, don't really care about the full automatic ban, or understand it being in place and are in favor of it being in place, but they don't want to ban the AR-15. Yes, there's a reason for that. It's because you've already got your, quote, assault rifle ban. Well, I shouldn't say, quote, assault rifle would be a legitimate term in that case, but they've already banned assault rifles and machine guns. The AR-15 is a civilian rifle. And these people are more than willing to accept the machine gun ban. They just don't want you moving the goalpost any further. So, and to answer the last portion of this question, by the way, the whole why would you even need one? Well, we have a Bill of Rights, not Bill of Needs. It is on your side of the aisle to prove that you need that ban on it. That's how a free country works. And so far, your side has not proved that. Okay, so before I get into answering this question, I'd like to make a statement. For those of you who wonder why there are hardline gun rights advocates such as myself who say not another damn gun law and let's start taking some off the books, it would be the mentality espoused in this question right here, and we get this mentality from many gun controllers. You see, it's not the only reason for most of us, but for many of us, it is a major reason why we have gotten to the point we've decided not another gun law and let's start taking some off the books as is. And I'm going to continue to quantify that statement as I answer this question. And the first part is, after Gary Martin attacked in Aurora, can we discuss gun control? Well, the fact of the matter is, gun control in this country has been an ongoing discussion for quite some time. It's been going on since before I was born and since before you were born. This has been a very long discussion. The fact of the matter is that your side of the aisle has decided to pull this childish little tactic of conflating you guys not getting the gun law you want this week with not having the discussion at all. It's very disingenuous and it's very childish. And just so you know, when you guys start pulling this stunt, I am reminded of the 5-year-old in the grocery store who's kicking, screaming, throwing a temper tantrum because his mother won't buy him that candy bar. And this kid acts like if he can kick and scream and cry and yell loud enough and throw a big enough temper tantrum and make a big enough scene, his mother's going to give him that candy bar just to pacify him. And maybe she does. That would explain why a lot of gun controllers nowadays act the way they do. I'm not even kidding. You can go on YouTube and start pulling up videos of discussions with gun controllers or some of the things that gun controllers have done to protest, and they're acting just like 5-year-old children. But let's discuss the whole situation in Illinois right quick. Gary Martin was a convicted felon. He's in Illinois. In Illinois, you have to have an FOID to legally own a firearm. And to get an FOID, well, first off, you have to jump through a few more hoops than you would in most other states just to buy a firearm. Second, you have to have that FOID just to own a firearm. And that FOID has to be renewed every 10 years. And there's still a 72-hour waiting period for purchasing a firearm. Now, despite all of this, despite Gary Martin being a convicted felon, he was still able to get an FOID and a firearm. Despite the current gun laws, despite gun controllers assuring us that FOID card would work. And by the way, the FOID system that Illinois has been in place since 1968. So, there you have it. So, none of these laws, which were supposed to work, which were supposed to stop Gary Martin from getting a gun, actually did stop him from getting a gun. And you guys want more laws that aren't going to work, and then when they don't work, you're going to say, well, we need another gun law. Why haven't we been discussing gun control in this country? Yes, so this is exactly your mentality on this one. And we already know, those on my side of the aisle already know that the next gun law proposal you put forward isn't going to stop this, and you guys are going to demand another gun law. Yes, this pattern's been going on for quite some time. What will it take for gun lovers to accept that we have a gun violence problem and a need for more gun control? Well, I can tell you what's probably not going to work, and that is using mass shootings in a state with restrictive gun laws to show us that gun control works. Doesn't help your case out, I'm just saying. No, but just maybe these previous gun laws haven't worked, and all these other proposals that you're coming up with probably aren't going to work either. You know, maybe you should consider that. You know, that I know it's going to require you to elevate your thinking above a preschooler's level, and it doesn't look from the question that you're able to quite do this. And in fact, it looks from the question that you're just out there pushing for more gun control, no matter if it works or not. But, you know, the point is that you just want more gun control. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this up right here. Y'all have questions of your own, go ahead and post them. Might get them answered. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all take her easy out there. Have a great day.